to the flag
the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Counselor. Item 4 is approval of the agenda. We have 2 amendments to the agenda tonight. First, under 5, it'll be 5B. It'll be a proclamation declaring March as Red Cross Month. That'll be 5B. And then we also have an amendment to the City Council executive session to be held at the end of the meeting. We have 2 subjects to discuss in executive session. One is real property transactions, and the other one is labor relations. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Mr. Mayor, I'll move to approve the agenda as amended.
Thank you, Councilor Randall. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved by Councilor Randall and seconded by Councilor Long to approve the agenda as amended. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
McLaughlin, aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item 5A is the Columbia Gorge Regional Airport Update. We have with us Mr. Jeff Renard, who is the airport manager. Mr. Renard, take it away.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and City Council. My first update for the airport, just had, I believe you have an attachment with some of the bullet points that I had in regards to the North Apron project, which is being finalized at this point. It's almost seems redundant reading it, but all we got left on the North Apron project is some crack sealing and painting of the tie down areas, and we'll have that back at 100% and be started onto the South Apron
Mute
project.
my audio. I still don't hear anything.
Is your volume turned up?
Judy, could you mute yourself, please? Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Renard.
Okay. This last year, we got the 24,000 gallons of additional fuel capacity put in, which has just been a huge benefit to our airport and the ability to have the military come in with the large numbers of aircraft that they've had coming in. The capacity just definitely seems to allow for people to more aircraft to come in and with greater capacity. One of the FBO has actually been able to reflect, even with the higher fuel prices, some of the best fuel sales that the airport's ever seen. They just continually break records for the volume of fuel sold. And
Yeah.
one of the questions that was asked of me was that how many full-time employees are out here? TAC Aero, the FBO and maintenance facility has 14 full-time employees with another coming on in June. And I don't know what the number is. I didn't get an answer back in regards to lifetime.
Well, I guess
Excuse me, Jeff. Judy Merrill, could you please stay muted, please? You keep coming in and out. So thank you. All right, go ahead, please.
All right. I don't have exact numbers for life flight, what they have for.
hello.
Oh,
Judy
Can you
Merrill.
hear me?
Yeah, Judy, mute yourself, please. You're disrupting a presentation.
I can remove her and she can come back in.
Why
Or
don't
I
you
could
do
mute,
that?
or
Why
I
don't you
could
do-
mute everybody and then just unmute the people we want to talk.
I don't know.
Just go ahead and mute Judy Merrill and we'll touch base with her later. Thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Judy, we're going to remove you from the meeting and get back to you later because you're interrupting a presentation. So go ahead, Jeff.
Okay. As I was saying, I don't have numbers for life flight and how many full-time employees they have at the airport. We have got a couple other, for lack of better terms, fixed-based operators at the airport now. We have a mobile mechanic that is working out here doing annuals and airplane maintenance. which has definitely added to the activity out here. And then Dan Shaw and Delta Sierra Aviation, he has a couple of part-time people that do flying and testing of different equipment with aircraft. So it's
Yeah. I'll let you back in later if you can't turn off. You keep.
The firefighting assets are about to be back. They should be end of May, possibly the beginning of June, depending on what the fire season looks like with the drought predictions. I spoke with one of the contractors last week, and it sounds like they may actually be on a sooner than later timeline for being back at the airport and ready for fires, which is great for us as a region. Working with Richard Foster at Klickitat County Economic Development and Dan Spatz up at the college in regards to the hopeful future Columbia Gorge Community College aviation mechanics maintenance facility. And that's waiting on, I guess probably the next step with that is we have to put a letter to the FAA and the EDA and figure out who wants to be the lead agency in the, I guess, the federal pool. I'm a little new to that arena yet, but that's, I guess, where we're at with that. But getting close. We're hopeful that everything is approved and that project starts moving forward to have the college building and the infrastructure started. And then here, a month or so ago, we had a airport visioning meeting, just basically the airport board and a few of the stakeholders here to kind of set a course of what we want the airport to look like and what was the most, what they felt was the biggest priority. And I've attached a list to that. I don't necessarily need to read through that for you unless there's questions on it. Probably one of the big bullet points that I did figure out here recent was with the abandoned runway that we use for where the drag races used to be and all the different the car events, and Team Oregon uses it, is that with our future business park development, we will lose that piece of blacktop that we use for all those different events. So I've been trying to figure out a workaround as to where we'll be able to have those events take place in the future, because there's, so far this year, the calendar is probably 2/3 full of every weekend has an event planned for that runway, besides the disruption when we have to stop one of those events because we have so many fire helicopters or something show up. And then the last item I had was in regards to a funding opportunity that the Oregon Emergency Management shared with us for this hazard mitigation. I submitted a process along with for some hazard mitigation stuff for the airport with the emergency generator to keep the runway lights on and the fuel on, and some earthquake mitigation ideas, and then bringing the terminal water system up to a level that can actually sustain a fire hydrant here near the FBO building where we're at. If anybody has any questions, I can probably answer those for you.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for Jeff? Councilor Richardson.
Hey, good evening, Jeff. Would you read just the top, I don't know, 2 or 3 priorities, bullet points from that recent visioning meeting, please?
Certainly. The number one item was the grounds maintenance, just keeping the airport looking as pristine as possible. That is the next item was the T hangar development, which is definitely a serious lack that we have. We've got 20, in fact, as of today, I had 24 people on the list for wanting a hangar to put their aircraft in, and I don't have any space available for any of them. The next one was equipment upgrade or update, which is, we were referring to the grounds maintenance equipment. Everything we've got over here is in the 10+ year category, and substantially, I mean, there's a fair amount of maintenance to keep things together and stay ahead of being able to mow. There's a lot of grass over here and a lot of upkeep.
Thank you. That's helpful. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Any other questions by anybody on the city council for Jeff? Okay, thank you very much, Jeff. And I apologize for the interruptions.
No worries.
You
Thank
handled
you
it
very
just
much.
fine. Thank you. Okay, item 5B is a proclamation, a City of the Dalles proclamation to designate the month of March Red Cross Month. I have a proclamation to read. Just take a couple minutes here. This will not be a vote of the city council. This would be a proclamation. So, in times of crisis, people in the Dalles come together to care for one another. This humanitarian spirit is part of the foundation of our community and is exemplified by the Red Cross, Cascades Regions, volunteers, and donors. In 1881, Clara Barton founded the American Red Cross, turning her steadfast dedication for helping others into a bold mission of preventing and alleviating people's suffering. Today, more than 140 years later, we honor the kindness and generosity of Red Cross volunteers here in the Dalles, who continue to carry out Clara's life-saving legacy. They join the millions of people across the United States who volunteer, give blood, donate financially, or learn vital life-preserving skills through the Red Cross. Their work to prevent and alleviate human suffering is vital to strengthening our community's resilience. We dedicate this month of March to all those who continue to advance the noble legacy of the American Red Cross founder, Clara Barton, who lived by her words, and I quote, "You must never think of anything except the need and how to meet it." We ask others to join in this commitment to give back to our community. I, Richard A. Mays, Mayor of the City of the Dalles, hereby proclaim March 2022 to be Red Cross Month in the City of the Dalles, Oregon, and encourage all its citizens to join in this observance. Thank you very much for listening. Okay, item 6 is audience participation. During this portion of the meeting, anyone may speak on any subject which does not later appear on the agenda. 5 minutes per person will be allowed. If a response by the city is requested, the speaker will be referred to the city manager for further action. The issue may appear on a future meeting agenda for city council consideration. Citizens are encouraged to ask questions with the understanding that the city can either answer that question tonight or refer the question to the appropriate city staff, who will get back to you within a reasonable amount of time. I'd just like to add too, I noticed there's people here in the audience that I suspect may want to comment on the navigation center. This is a subject that came up at the city council meeting a couple of meetings ago. A presentation was made. It is not a City of the Dalles project per se. It's a project by Mid-Columbia Community Action Council. And the application for the navigation center has not yet been filed. So therefore, I don't think it'd be appropriate necessarily for any city councilman, at least city council person, to comment. However, I do know that the executive director, Mr. LaPointe, Kenny LaPointe, is willing to talk to any citizen about his plans and goals. And I know he's reached out. And if you go to the mccac.com website and click Navigation Center, there's a wealth of information on the website about the center. So with that, I'll turn it over to the public for anybody who would like to comment on any subject which is not on the agenda for up to 5 minutes. Please raise your hand to be recognized. I see Jennifer Dewey.
Yeah, I have a couple of things. One is I'd like to ask what the, there's been a recent influx of, theft in town. And I went down today and got.
Excuse me, Jennifer, yes. I need you to state your name and address, please, for the record.
Jennifer Dewey, and 383 Summit Ridge.
Thank you. I should have asked you that to begin with, Jennifer. Please go ahead.
That's all right. So I went down and got, because I've been having such problems with it, and I'm sure I'm not alone. I have my police reports for the last 2 years. I have pulled how many times we've had to call the police down to the dealership, which is on 2400 West 6th Street, 52 times in the last 2 years. It seems excessive to me in a small town to have that. I think our police do a great job, but I think their hands are tied. And I would like to know what kind of processes we have, what kind of committees and things that we're doing to address this. Because I know it's happening clear across town. I mean, all across town, you're having all kinds of issues. And I don't think that it's just our community. But I do think that we as well, and actually you guys as city council have a responsibility to be able to help put codes and enforcements that they can work around. So even if it's issues that are at the state level, there's things that we can do to help alleviate it and help support our police department in those matters. And I just wanted to know if we've had anything addressed to it, to any kind of committees, anything that, what the game plan is to help resolve all of that. And then my other issue is, we talk about trying to beautify the Dalles, and we put a lot of effort into Main Street and everything on there, which I agree with. I think we should be doing all that. But I drive down the freeway and you've got areas where there is just garbage piled up. And it looks bad from coming on the inside, outside, coming into the Dalles. And I think that needs to be addressed. And we do have a codes enforcement place. So I think that maybe some of that can be addressed. And I know that there's been an area over, like in particular, what comes to my head is that area over by Hattenauer Distributing that has a bunch of garbage on it, and it seems to be getting worse. So I want to know what the process was for all of that too.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to ask the staff to respond to that, but not tonight. And I'm sure if you get a hold of the city manager tomorrow or after, you could take your questions and your concerns to her, and they will be addressed appropriately. Okay. Okay. Anybody else would like to address the city council on any subject not on the agenda? I see Marilyn raising your hand. Please identify yourself after you're unmuted and give us your address and your name for the record.
My name is Marilyn Arthur. I live at 1820 East 16th Street in the Dalles. And I just wanted to comment, I don't think that the navigation center is on your agenda because, as you said, it's not a city project. But I just wanted to encourage you to be supportive of the Mid-Columbia Community Action Council Navigation Center. For 6 years, my husband Joe and I have been involved in trying to help the houselessness issue in various ways. This includes me serving on the Dalles Housing Coalition, and we put on all of us put on Community Connect events for the homeless. From 2017 to 2020, my husband and I volunteered at the warming shelter. And this year we volunteered for the point in time count in the area. So through all these involvements, we have really seen firsthand the issues of the homeless, including mental health, weather, and we've also seen the frustrations in dealing with these. So now, under the direction of Kenny LaPointe, we have this navigation center proposed, which gives us real hope to solve these problems in a comprehensive way. And I guess for those who may not have encountered a homeless person, when we did the point in time count, I was asking myself, how can I look a freezing cold, anxious woman in the eye during this interview and not want something better for her? And of course, by helping her, we help everyone, resulting in a feeling of pride in our community. So I sincerely hope that although the city is not in charge of this, that the city would support this important endeavor. Thank you.
Thank you. I see Shelley Campbell with her hand raised. Ms. Campbell, please give your name and address for the record.
Thank you. My name is Shelley Campbell, and I am at 419 7th Street. I'm the director of North Central Public Health District in the Dalles. And I just wanted to address also the Navigation Center. And I know all of us here have been through a really trying last 2 years with COVID. And I think with COVID, one thing it's taught us is the support of the community is invaluable, and to have coordinated efforts in the community to support all community members is also invaluable. I think over the Christmas holiday this year, as we know, was very challenging. There was a lot of snow. We had a COVID outbreak. We had a lot of needs, especially for the houseless community. And that was a primary example of the challenges we face in the community, not only with efforts to care for COVID patients in that specific instance, but also members that are houseless who are in need of food, in need of isolation, in shelter, transportation, medical support, and mental health needs. To have a navigation center of something of this caliber in our community would really emphasize the support of coordinating efforts and having them under one roof, or having them in an area where all community members can support, and also people in need have a place to go. It was very challenging, again, over Christmas to try to coordinate all those moving pieces. And I know there are some people on this meeting tonight who were supportive in that process, and we really worked hard to try to support our community members. And it just really emphasized to us at Public Health the importance to have a coordinated effort and a center that can help facilitate that. So from Public Health standpoint, we would support that and would ask that other communities support that to bring that to our community. That's all I'd say. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address the council on any subject which is not on the agenda? Marilyn Roth? Please give us your name and address, Marilyn.
Hi, I'm Reverend Marilyn Roth, and I represent the faith community on this group of people that the mayor has put together to bring additional focus on the homeless. I also represent, as a retired priest of St. Paul's. St. Paul's Episcopal Church has been very active in helping with the homeless, both by often, I don't know how many volunteers St. Paul's has right now for the warming place, but I know that we've at least have 4 or 5 people who have volunteered to stay there at nighttime. We bought a pallet shelter to help with some of the financing of those issues with the pallet shelters. So when I think of this navigation center, I just feel real hope for managing and mitigating this homeless issue in the Dalles. And I only have really only praise and a strong recommendation that the city sees how hard certain people are working toward the homeless, along with Kenny LaPointe's strong efforts of, gaining dollars, state dollars, federal dollars for a navigation center. So I'm hoping the city, even though it is not on the agenda tonight, will at some point support whatever efforts the navigation center will need to go forward. I'm not going to list all the points that have already been repeated, but I'm here just to support the navigation center. Thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn. Max Janasik, did I pronounce that right?
You did, yes, thank you. And I'm here representing One Community Health. We have sites in both the Dalles and Hood River, and also supporting the navigation center. I think Kenny has done an amazing job of bringing partners together that can offer services for this population, and we are fully supported and ready to help out, and hope that that moves forward.
Thank you, Mr. Janasek. Martin Campos. Martin Campos Davis, please give us your name and address.
Martin Campos Davis, 1309 Montello, Hood River. I'm also the executive director for Oregon Human Development Corporation, which delivers farm worker services in Wasco and Hood River counties. Part of why I'm here is to lend support to the Navigation Center. While the Navigation Center will attempt to address homelessness in the Dalles, we also are looking to partner with the MCAC at the location there, because we want to also prevent homelessness. So all those folks that are facing housing instabilities, maybe they're behind in the rent, they have an eviction notice, they're not quite out of the house yet. Our organization helps to stabilize those folks, especially the Latinx and farm worker populations in the Gorge. With 19% of the Dalles population being Hispanic, Our bilingual staff, which will be situated there at the McCack Center, will be there to be able to help deliver those needed services at critical times in their lives. OHCC, Oregon Human Development, is very supportive of the Navigation Center and the efforts by McCack to house that center there on 7th Street. Thank you.
Thank you. Colleen Ballinger, please give us your name and address after you're unmuted. There you go.
Yep. Colleen Ballinger. I live at 1015 Lincoln Street in the Dalles. I'm on the St. Vincent de Paul board, and I just wanted to express my enthusiasm and support for the Navigation Center also.
Thank you. Anybody else? I don't see any other hands raised, but I can only see 25 screens. Oh, Kristen Lilvik.
Hi, Kristen Lilvik, 1110 East 8th Street, the Dalles. I also am just coming on here as a small business owner in the Dalles to express support for the McCack Center and everything that they're doing. Really also just wanted to say thank you so much for your proclamation about the Red Cross. And I think it also applies here that we, in your words, in times of crisis, the people of the Dalles come together to help one another, and very excited to see all the work that's going forward and hope that it will be supported by City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody
Is,
else?
I think Jennifer wants to speak.
Okay, I don't see. Colleen Ballinger and Marilyn Roth, why don't you guys lower your hands? And, oh, Jennifer, there you are. Okay.
Sorry, I don't have a hand raiser on my.
It's okay. You've used up about 2.5 minutes, so.
Okay,
Yeah, go
that's
ahead.
fine. What I want to say is I think the Navigation Center is a great project. I do have an issue with where it is being set. And the reason I have an issue is because it butts up against commercial and retail space that has a lot of inventory outside, meaning the car dealerships, Coastal, everybody and the motel. I think that the Navigation Center is a great facility, a great project, and I think it should be commended on what they are going to accomplish. I just believe that it should be at a different location. And so I would honestly like to see that happen. And I would like to see some emphasis being put on that. Because I think that there's a lot of people that have there's a lot of retail businesses that will be directly impacted by this, as well as residential. So I would like to see that be reviewed. And I think that the people around should have been included in the, in the original plans for that as well. So they could have some input into that as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody else? Forrest E. Cole.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Forrest Erkley, 2604 West 13th Street, the Dalles. I would just like to encourage the City of the Dalles and the Dalles City Council to support the development of the Navigation Center. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else? Since I can't see some of the hands, just speak up if you would like to speak. Going once, going twice. Okay, thank you all very much for your comments. For those of you that are, again, I'd just like to mention there's a website. It's called mccac.com/navigation-center. I encourage anyone to go there and check out what Mid-Columbia Community Action has in mind. Okay, we'll go into item 7, City Manager's Report. Ms. Kruger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be very brief tonight. I just have one request. The Beautification and the Arts Committee have been working together along with many other community members on the Pocket Park project. If you're already familiar with that, it's in the old J.C. Penney parking lot area. And I know they'll be coming to make a presentation. But in the meantime, since this is a community event and supported and somewhat sponsored by the city, that we waive their site plan review and historic landmark application fees so that we can keep the project moving forward. And the total amount would be $515 for both applications.
Okay, are you asking for a consensus of the council to waive those fees?
Yes, sir.
Does anybody have a problem waiving the $515 in fees? Okay, hearing no objection. Did you have anything else, Ms. Kruger?
No, that's all tonight. Thank you.
Okay, city council reports. Let's start with Councilor Randall.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On February 17th, I was a guest speaker at the Government Affairs Forum hosted by the Dalles Chamber of Commerce. February 23rd, the Historic Landmark Commission met and approved 2 requests for murals from the Dalles Main Street and Wall Dogs, and 1 request for a freestanding sign at the northeast corner of the Dalles Arts Center. February 24th, City Council met in executive session. February 25th, as part of my day job, I attended a career technical education and skilled trades job fair in Redmond, Oregon. I mentioned this because we collaborated with the Columbia Gorge Community College to gather ideas and observations that we can put to use in an upcoming trades fair in the Dalles on April 22nd. On February 26th, I attended a Mardi Gras celebration hosted by the Dalles Main Street. March 2nd, I attended a Q-Life meeting. March 5th, I attended a ribbon cutting ceremony for House of a la Mode, a new yarn store now open for business on Court Street. March 7th, I met with the mayor. And on March 9th, I attended the Dalles Vision 2040 virtual community town hall. And that's my report.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Runyon.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I just want to thank everyone who made comments tonight on a variety of subjects. We appreciate hearing those comments. Let's see here. I also attended the Main Street Mardi Gras. Actually, I was the spotter for the auctioneer at that event. And I think there were over 200 people there. The mayor was there, of course, and Councilor McLaughlin and Councilor Randall was there as well, too. Last week, I was called by Kenny LaPointe, the director of MCAC. In part, his main agenda item was to talk about veterans issues. I was the chair of Mid-Columbia Community Action Council for 3 of the 8 years that I sat on that board. And actually, I was on that board way back when it was called Community Action Program, CAP. And we had a good discussion, and we did discuss the Navigation Center near the end after we got through the veterans issues. And MCAC is doing a lot when it comes to veterans that are struggling in this community, and they work hand in hand with the Veterans Service Office here as well. They have a good communication going back and forth. Today, we had the Mid-Columbia Veterans Memorial Meeting, and I had asked Kenny to be a speaker along with 2 of his staff members who directly work with veterans who are homeless and trying to turn their lives around. And it was a very good meeting a little earlier today. In the last week, the Columbia Gorge Veterans Museum, which, by the way, folks, is right upstairs at City Hall. The elevator comes right to the museum's door, so please stop by. I think the hours now we're starting to expand back up, are going to be Thursday and Friday from it's either noon or 1 o'clock until 4 in the afternoon. And go by and see Jean Maxwell and her volunteers, and we're always looking for volunteers. We have decided on an event with the museum. I'm a founding board member on the Veterans Museum, and we've decided on an event that we did pre-pandemic called Hail to the Jeep. And we hope to have it at the City Hall parking lot and possibly half of the Court Street block right there. That'll be coming up in June. It's a Father's Day event. So I just wanted to put that out there. And as we get our paperwork into Dan Hunter and to Julie and whatnot, we will firm up some things. But that's where we're heading. It's Father's Day in June. And that's all I've got tonight.
Thank you, Councilor Runyon. Councilor Long.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I too attended the 2040 Visioning town hall, which was very well attended. It was wonderful to see so many names and faces that I didn't recognize. So I'm pretty excited about the broadened perspective that we're getting on this. Also wanted to mention that tomorrow night is our urban renewal meeting. And I know a lot of people in town would like to know what's been going on and what is coming up. And so I encourage you to attend. We're going to be having some review of the goals and priority projects, as well as talking about our incentive program for the next year and things that we're considering doing for incentivizing urban renewal dollar usage downtown. And of course, Wednesday night, we're having our open house for our city manager candidates. And this week will be very busy. City Council will with interviewing city manager candidates and also talking, hopefully coming to a decision. And then I'll have more of a report after that because Traffic Safety Committee is also this week if anyone is interested in that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor McLaughlin.
Yes, Mayor Mays, thank you. I also attended the Mardi Gras for Main Street and it was well attended and I was very impressed. On March 3rd, I've had many meetings with you, Mayor Mays, and we continue to communicate, I think, effectively. So thank you for meeting with me. March 10th, I had a meeting with hospital staff, CEO Dennis Knox and his staff concerning some issues with information on social media and basically gathering information from hospital staff. March 11th, I had a Zoom meeting with Chuck Covert and Brian Jarl. Brian Jarl is a family member that is marketing the property adjoining the Dalles Municipal Airport. And we're working through, and that's the Gulf, as you remember, for the past, 10, 15 years. So hopefully that's projects moving forward. I accompanied Mayor Mays to the SIP meeting to discuss the planned distribution method for Google distribution of anticipated fees and taxes. And I'm sure Mayor Mays will talk about that later. Upcoming meetings on the 14th, I have Airport Commission meeting at 7 o'clock. On the 15th, Urban Renewal at 5:30. On the 16th and 17th, we have manager. It would be interviews, and the night before, we're going to have a meet and greet. On the 26th to the 31st, I'll attend, along with the COT, the community outreach team, for a trip to Washington, D.C. And this completes my report for March 14th.
Thank you, Councilor. As far as mayor's report goes, on March 3rd, I attended the county's Economic Development Committee meeting. Along with Councilor Randall, he mentioned we attended the ribbon cutting for House a la Mode on Court Street, a new business in downtown. On the 9th, I attended the county's Household Hazardous Waste Committee meeting. The reason I attended because we had a recent resignation of Linda Miller from that committee. So I am looking for another city representative to represent the city on the county's Household Hazardous Waste Committee. So please notify the city clerk if you're interested in serving. Also that day, Councilor McLaughlin mentioned the meeting with the taxing bodies on March the 9th regarding the disposition of the community service fee. And I did send an email to the city council regarding that meeting, the results of the meeting. And if you haven't read it, please make sure you do read that email. It's very important. On the 10th, I had lunch with the mayor of Hood River, Kate McBride. I also attended the visioning meeting, of course, and I'd like to compliment the staff and the consultants involved for making that happen without a glitch. I'm not sure how they did it, but they did it. And my compliments to the staff and the consultants. And finally, I just want to put a plug in for the aforementioned reception at 5:30 Wednesday night at the Civic for the 4 candidates, the 4 finalists for the city manager position. Finally, I want to announce that on March 28th, our next city council meeting will be held face-to-face. Something to celebrate, I think. And we're all excited about the prospect of finally meeting together. For those that are interested in Zooming into the meeting and do not want to attend, you will have that, certainly have that alternative to Zoom in to the city council meeting. Okay,
Mr. Mayor,
yes, Councilor Runyon.
just for to put out there that I forgot, that I was also at the visioning meeting, and I'd forgotten that I met with our city attorney, Jonathan Sarah, about it related to the city. I forgot to put that out there. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item 9 is the consent agenda. Items of a routine and non-controversial nature are placed on the consent agenda to allow the city council to spend its time and energy on the important items and issues. Any councilor may request an item be pulled from the consent agenda and be considered separately. Items pulled from the consent agenda will be placed on the agenda at the end of the action items section. Tonight, we have 3 items on the consent agenda. First, we have the approval of the February 14th regular city council meeting minutes. Second, we have a resolution concurring with 4 appointments that I have made. Nick Portella to the Planning Commission, Scott Stevenson to the Historic Landmark Commission, Serena Smith to the City Budget Committee, and Shannon Saldivar to the Urban Renewal Agency Board. And finally, on the consent agenda is the approval of a refund of $700 to Mr. Ken Whiteman for a denial of a minor partition application. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Councilor Long?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Oh, McLaughlin can second.
Councilor, it's been moved by Councilor Long and seconded by Councilor McLaughlin to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
McLaughlin, aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, item 10A. Bear with me. We have a public hearing regarding Resolution 22-006, authorizing the formation of a reimbursement district for the East 17th Street Sanitary Sewer Main Project. Now is the time for that public hearing. First, I'm going to receive testimony regarding that resolution. I will open the public hearing and ask for a staff report. Following the staff report, I'll ask for testimony for support of the issue, followed by testimony in opposition to the issue. At the conclusion of the testimony, the public hearing will be closed and the matter will be turned over to the city council for a deliberation and hopefully a decision. So with that, I'm going to open the public hearing and I take it Mr. Dave Anderson will be taking it from here.
Thank you. Honorable Mayor, members of council. City council's previously authorized a process whereby developers can recover costs of constructing water or sanitary sewer improvements through the formation of a reimbursement district. The formation of each district requires city council authorization and approval. On October 12th of 2021, the city council authorized the provision of water and sanitary sewer services to properties which at that time were located outside the city limits in the area of East 17th Street and west of Morton Street. At that time, staff presented to the city council its proposal that the city construct a new sanitary sewer main to serve these undeveloped residential properties and then form a reimbursement district to recover the costs of construction. In this case, the city served as the developer for the construction of the new main. The project was designed by the city's engineering staff and constructed by the wastewater collection division and completed in December 17th, 2021. The Public Works Director report has been prepared and to present the relevant information to the proposed reimbursement district and the fees. The Dalles Municipal Code requires that a public hearing be conducted for informational purposes only to allow for public comment on the proposed district. Following the public hearing, the City Council may approve, reject, or modify the recommendations included in the Public Works Director's report and may decide to form the reimbursement district. All affected property owners were notified of the scheduled hearing at least 10 days in advance of the public hearing. Following the conclusion of the informational hearing, if council so desires, the attached resolution number 22-006 can be adopted, which finalizes the process of forming the reimbursement district for the city by establishing the reimbursement fee. Once formed, a reimbursement district exists for 15 years. The cost of this project was $69,955.06, which exceeded the estimated budget by about $9,000 due to there being a lot more rock excavation than what is anticipated. Efforts were made to minimize the additional costs, such as utilization of larger rendered excavator and reducing project staffing when rock excavation was underway and construction was slow. Budget implications are that if the proposed reimbursement district and fees are approved by the city council, property owners and developers will be required to pay to the city reimbursement fees equal to $13,836.05 per acre when they develop or connect to a city to the new sanitary sewer main. Following the staff's recommendation is that following the public hearing, City Council moved to adopt resolution number 22-006, a resolution authorizing the formation of a reimbursement district for the East 17th Street sanitary sewer main improvements and setting an effective date.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Is there any, I'd like to ask members in the audience, is there anyone that would like to speak in support of this resolution? Please raise your hand or speak up. Last call for comments in support of the resolution. Okay, is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak in opposition to the resolution? Anybody? I see Linda Holcomb with her hand raised. Please identify yourself by giving us your name and address for the record after you're unmuted. Just, you gotta wait till you're unmuted. She'll get to you just a second.
Okay, Linda
There you
Holcomb,
go.
2543 East 18th Street. And I personally will not be benefiting from the sewer system. I have a septic system that has worked for 50+ years, and it would be very expensive for me to connect to it. So I don't see the reason to pay for it.
Okay. Thank you for your comment. Mr. Anderson, do you have any comment on that?
Yeah, and just to be clear, the way a reimbursement district works is that if somebody, a person only pays if they connect to the system. As Mrs. Holcomb's situation is that she already has a sanitary, a septic system, a private septic system. If that continues to function for her, she doesn't need to connect to the new sewer, and there would be no payment or no charges to her. If in the future, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, that septic system fails, there's a sewer main there now available to her. If she were to make that connection to the main within the next 15 years, that's when a charge would be applied.
Okay, thank you. Does that answer your concern, Ms. Holcomb?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other, anybody else want to speak in opposition to the resolution? Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing. We'll now have the city council deliberate. Would any member of the city council either like to ask Mr. Anderson a question or make a comment? Councilor Runyon.
So in the event that a citizen at a later time wished to connect, is it a lump sum? I mean, is it by the month? Do we work out? I'm sure this has happened in the past on other projects. So what's the history on that kind of thing to make it financially feasible for the citizen to connect?
So traditionally, it's normally a lump sum payment at the time of development, and the costs are known because we would be setting the rate tonight with adoption of the resolution. If there are some extenuating circumstances, I believe then there's the opportunity to have a conversation and work out an arrangement through the finance department to make some sort of other payment. But without extenuating circumstances, it's normally a lump sum when they make the decision to develop the property or for some other reason connect to that improvement.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Would anybody like to make a motion?
Mayor Mays, I'll go ahead and make the motion. Does this need to be read in full, or is this by title only, or just read the motion?
Just read the motion.
Got it. Thank you. All right. Move to adopt resolution number 22-006, a resolution authorizing the formation of a reimbursement district for the East 17th Street sanitary sewer main improvements and setting an effective date.
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
The move by Councilor McLaughlin and seconded by Councilor Richardson to approve the resolution. Is there any more discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
McLaughlin, aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Okay. The City Council of the City of the Dalles will now meet in executive session. First, in accordance with ORS 192.6602E, to consult with persons appointed by the council to negotiate real property transactions, followed by an executive session in accordance with ORS 192.6602D to conduct deliberations with persons designated by the governing body to carry on labor negotiations. Representatives of the news media will not be allowed to attend the executive session concerning labor negotiations. No decision may be made in executive session. At the end of the executive session, we will be returning to open session and welcome the audience back into the meeting. So with that, I'm going to adjourn the meeting into executive session. And again, we will return to open session after our executive session is finished. Thank you.